The night grew darker. The wind howled, shaking the trees as though they too were afraid. Inside Baba Sola's house, everyone gathered around the sleeping twins, who now looked pale and cold. Mama Sola held them close, tears running down her cheeks. "Please, Taiwo, Keyhind, wake up, my children," she sobbed. The villagers whispered among themselves. Some blamed Baba Sola. "If not for his greed, this evil would not have come," one woman said. "He has brought a curse upon us," another man added. But just then, a stick hit the ground slowly. It was Mama Ireti, the old woman of the hills. Her hair was white like cotton, and she wore a wrapper made of animal skin. Around her neck were beads, and in her hand was a long staff with a cowrie-covered head. The villagers quickly made way. "Mama Ireti has come." She entered the room without speaking and sat by the twins. She placed a hand on their tiny heads and closed her eyes. After a moment she spoke. Dark spirits have tied these children's souls to the mouth of a dead river. If we don't break the bond before dawn, their spirits will be taken forever." "What do we do, Mama?" Baba Sola asked, falling at her feet. "Tell me, I will do anything." Mama Ireti opened a small gourd and poured some white powder into her palm. "We must find 3 things before the cock crows," she said, her voice deep like thunder. 1. A feather from the night owl that lives by the sacred tree. 2. A drop of fresh morning dew from the tallest hill. 3. The blood of a man who truly loves the twins, willing to give his life for them. The villagers gasped. "Before cock crows? But it's almost midnight." Mama Sola grabbed Baba Sola's hand. "You must go. You caused this. You must save our children." Without wasting time, Baba Sola picked up a torch and ran into the night. The forest was dark and wild. Strange sounds came from every corner. Bats flapped their wings, monkeys howled, and the shadows danced. First he reached the sacred tree. An owl sat on a branch, its eyes shining like 2 lamps. Baba Sola threw a stone, missing it. The owl hooted and flew to another branch. "Please let me have 1 feather," he begged. The owl stared, then dropped a single feather that floated down slowly. Baba Sola caught it. "1 down," he said, and ran towards the hill. The hill was steep, but Baba Sola climbed it with shaking hands and weak legs. At the top, he looked for the morning dew. Though it was night, a tiny patch of wetness glistened on a leaf. He quickly used the leaf to gather a drop. 2 down, he said. Now came the hardest, the blood of a man who truly loves the twins. Baba Sola's heart sank. Who else loves them more than me, their father? He took out a small knife. His hands trembled. If my life will save them, so be it. He made a small cut on his palm, letting his blood drip into a calabash he brought. As he turned to leave, a thick shadow appeared before him. Red eyes shone in the dark. It was Agbongbon. "You fool," the native doctor growled. "You think you can stop me? You belong to me, and so do those children." Baba Sola's blood ran cold. The torch in his hand flickered. "I'm no longer afraid of you," Baba Sola said, though his voice shook. "I will save my children." Agbongbon raised his staff. The ground shook, but just then a blinding white light filled the forest. Mama Ireti appeared, walking through the trees like a spirit. "Leave now, Agbongbon, before the earth swallows you whole." Agbongbon hissed and vanished into black smoke. Mama Ireti turned to Baba Sola. "Hurry, the cock will soon crow." They both disappeared into the night, racing back to the village. The village was silent. Not a single drumbeat. Not a single song. Everyone waited by Baba Sola's house, their eyes fixed on the door. The twins still lay still, their tiny chests barely moving. Mama Sola knelt by them, holding their cold little hands. "Taiwo, Keyhind, please don't leave me," she wept. The sky was turning pale. The cock on Chief Alako's roof flapped its wings, ready to crow. "Kookaroo?" It stretched its neck. Just then, a gust of wind blew open the door. Baba Sola and Mama Ireti rushed in. Baba Sola's face was covered in sweat, his clothes torn, and in his hands were the owl feather, the dew in a leaf, and the calabash with his blood. "I have them," he shouted, falling to his knees. Mama Ireti wasted no time. She took the feather and waved it over the twins. She sprinkled the morning dew on their foreheads. Then she took Baba Sola's blood and marked a tiny line on each child's chest. The room grew still. The cock opened its beak, but before it crowed, a bright white light filled the room. The twins' eyes fluttered open. "Wah!" they cried. Mama Sola screamed with joy and hugged them tight. "They are alive," the villagers shouted. "A miracle!" Baba Sola fell to the ground, tears streaming from his eyes. Thank you, Mama Ireti raised her staff high. "The evil has been broken," she declared. "But beware, Agbongbon is still out there. He will try again. Protect these children with your life." The people cheered. Drums started again and singing filled the air. But in the thick forest far away, Agbongbon watched through a pool of dark water. His red eyes burned with anger. "You escaped today, Baba Sola," he hissed. "But this battle is not over. I will return. And next time, no one will save you." He waved his hand and the water went dark. Back in the village, the king's messenger prepared to lead the family to the palace, but Mama Ireti pulled Baba Sola aside. "Listen to me, Baba Sola," she said. "You must never let these children leave your sight. There are things coming, things darker than Agbongbon." Baba Sola's face grew pale. "What kind of things, Mama Ireti?" But she only shook her head. "They will come at night, from places you cannot see. Be ready." By sunrise, the whole village gathered to send off Baba Sola, Mama Sola, and the twins to the king's palace. Drummers beat their drums, dancers moved their feet, and old women ululated with joy. Kakaroko. The rooster crowed loudly, but this time it was a sound of victory. Mama Ireti stood quietly at the edge of the crowd, leaning on her staff, watching closely. Her sharp old eyes scanned the sky and the trees. Before Baba Sola climbed into the king's royal wagon, Mama Ireti grabbed his arm. "Remember my warning," she whispered. "Don't let the twins leave your side, not even for a moment. And at night, no lamps must go out in your room. Keep them burning till dawn." Baba Sola nodded. "I will not forget, Mama," he promised. The royal guards led them down the long dusty path towards the king's palace. The road was quiet, the air still, but no one knew. In the shadows of the trees, dark shapes followed them silently. Small creatures with eyes like burning coals crept behind the bushes. They were Agbongbon's dark spirits. As the journey continued, Taiwo and Keyhind slept peacefully in their mother's arms, unaware of the danger crawling close. At midday, the group stopped by a stream to drink water. The royal guards went to fetch firewood to cook yam. Mama Sola sat under a tree cradling the twins. But just then, one of the lamps in the royal wagon went out. A cold wind blew. Baba Sola, who had gone to cut palm fronds, felt a strange chill run down his back. "Mama Sola," he shouted, "check the twins." Mama Sola looked down. The babies were gone. "Ah, my babies!" she screamed. The whole camp scattered in panic. The guards searched the bushes. Baba Sola ran to the riverbank. A tiny high-pitched laugh floated through the air. "He he he he." Everyone froze. From the shadows stepped a small hunched figure with sharp yellow teeth and skin as black as night. It carried a calabash, and inside it were the tiny sleeping twins. "I told you," the creature hissed. "You cannot escape us." "Drop them now," Baba Sola shouted, grabbing a stick, but the creature hissed and began to chant. "Earth swallows, spirits follow." Suddenly the ground shook. A crack opened beneath the creature's feet. Mama Ireti appeared from nowhere. "I warned you, Baba Sola," she said angrily. "But now we must fight." She threw a handful of white powder at the creature. A bright flash filled the air. A bright flash filled the air. The creature screamed, dropping the calabash. The twins rolled out, still asleep. Baba Sola ran and caught them just before they fell into the crack. Mama Ireti raised her staff. "Seal this ground, bind the dark ones, protect the chosen." The crack closed with a loud clap. The creature hissed, turned into black smoke and vanished into the sky. Mama Ireti wiped her face. "This is only the beginning," she muttered. She turned to Baba Sola. "The king must be told. These twins are not ordinary children. They carry a light that both good and evil will trace. You must be ready, Baba Sola. You must be ready." Baba Sola clutched his twins tightly. The journey to the king's palace continued, but no one sang or danced anymore. The drummers had packed their drums. The guards gripped their spears tightly. Even the birds in the trees had gone silent. Mama Ireti walked in front, her staff tapping the ground with each step. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. Baba Sola carried Taiwo in one arm and Kihind in the other. He refused to let them out of his sight, not even for a blink. Mama Sola walked closely beside him, holding on to the edge of his wrapper. The sky above them darkened, though it was still afternoon. "This is bad," Mama Ireti muttered. "Very bad." When they finally reached the gates of the king's palace, the guards opened the big wooden doors. A tall man in fine robes, the chief messenger, came out. "Welcome, Baba Sola," he said. "The king awaits you in the throne room." But before they could step inside, Mama Ireti raised her hand. "No one enters until I speak to the king," she commanded. The guards looked confused. "But Mama, the king ordered us to bring them in quickly." "If you value your life, call him out now," Mama Ireti said. The guards ran inside. Not long after, the great king himself appeared at the entrance, tall, with skin as dark as the night sky, and a crown that glittered like the morning sun. His royal robe swept the ground as he walked. "What is this matter that cannot wait?" the king asked. Mama Ireti stepped forward and spoke in a voice loud enough for the whole palace to hear. "Your Majesty, these children are not ordinary twins. They carry the light of the earth. Darkness is chasing them. Evil wants them dead because of the greatness inside them. If care is not taken, the whole land may suffer." The king's eyes widened. "What evil?" Mama Ireti pointed to Baba Sola. "This man, their father, tried to sacrifice them for riches, but the gods showed mercy and spared them. Now the one he called for help, the wicked Agbongbon, is after them. He sent spirits on the way here, and he will send more." The palace people gasped. The guards stepped back. Even the chief messenger covered his mouth. The king stared at Baba Sola. "Is this true?" Baba Sola dropped to his knees. "Forgive me, my king. I was foolish, greedy. I almost lost them, but I have changed. I swear it." The king looked at the sleeping twins. A soft light shone on their foreheads. "They truly carry the mark," he whispered. He turned to his guards. "Double the palace watch. No one comes near these children without Mama Ireti's word. Agbongbon must not touch them." He ordered a royal room to be prepared with 4 burning lamps at each corner and placed Mama Sola and Baba Sola inside with the twins. But far away in the deepest part of the forest, Agbongbon was not resting. He knelt before a dark spirit, a giant figure taller than the tallest tree. Its eyes were like 2 burning holes, and its breath shook the trees. "I have failed, Great One," Agbongbon confessed. The dark spirit growled. "Then send the one that never fails," it said. "Send Ajagon Oru, the spirit of the night." Agbongbon smiled wickedly. "By nightfall, the twins will be mine." That evening, as the sun disappeared behind the hills and the sky turned a deep orange, a strange cold fell upon the king's palace. The trees no longer swayed, the birds no longer chirped. Inside the royal chamber, Baba Sola sat close to the twins' bed. Mama Sola sang softly, rocking them gently. For large lamps burned in each corner of the room, their flames dancing like little warriors. Mama Areti sat by the doorway, her staff on her lap, her sharp eyes watching the shadows. She could feel it. Something was coming. Something big. Tonight, no one sleeps, she warned. The king had doubled the guards, and strong men with sharp swords and shields lined the palace walls. But none of them knew what kind of spirit they were about to face. As midnight came, a thick mist rolled into the palace grounds. The air became heavy and the lamps flickered. Somewhere in the dark, a deep, terrible voice called out, "Awu!" It was Agbongbon, the spirit of the night. The guards on duty felt their hearts shake. One by one, their hands trembled and sweat rolled down their faces, though the air was cold. In the royal chamber, the 4 lamps burned lower. Mama Areti stood up suddenly. "It's here," she said. A strange black smoke began to leak through the cracks of the door and windows. It snaked into the room like a long, dark hand, reaching for the twins. The babies stirred in their sleep. "No!" Mama Areti shouted, raising her staff. She drew a circle on the ground with white chalk, surrounding the twins' bed. "Nobody must step outside this circle," she warned. The smoke touched the edge of the circle and hissed like a snake burned by fire. Then a figure appeared from the smoke. Tall, thin, and dark as night, with no eyes, no mouth, only a face as smooth as a drum. Its hands were long and sharp like spears. Agbongbon had come. The palace walls shook. The guards outside ran in fear. Even the king's crown fell from his head where he sat in his throne room. Mama Areti faced the spirit. "You shall not take them." Agbongbon pointed a long bony finger at Baba Sola. "You called for riches," the spirit spoke in a voice that was not a voice but a sound inside the head. "You promised their souls." Baba Sola dropped to his knees, shaking. "I was blind. I was foolish." Agbongbon moved closer. The lamps flickered lower. The air became ice cold. The twins let out tiny, soft cries. Mama Areti gripped her staff. "If you want them, you must pass through me." The spirit hissed and the ground cracked. Suddenly, a voice echoed from outside. "Open the royal shrine of the 7 stones." It was the king's voice. "Bring the ancient horn." A guard rushed in with a long old horn covered in dust. Mama Areti grabbed it, placed it to her lips, and blew. Pwah! A sound like thunder filled the air. Agbongbon shrieked, covering its faceless head. The lamps burst into bright blue flames. The chalk circle around the twins glowed. Mama Areti shouted words only the ancient spirits knew. The spirit staggered, its body breaking like smoke caught in the wind. "You cannot win, old woman," it hissed. "I shall return." With a last terrible screech, Agbongbon vanished into thin air. The room fell silent. The babies sighed and slept peacefully once more. Mama Areti lowered the horn, her face pale with sweat. The king entered the room. "Is it over?" he asked, his voice trembling. Mama Areti looked at the sleeping twins, then at the night sky. "For now," she whispered. "But the battle is not yet finished. Greater darkness lies ahead." Far away, deep in the belly of the earth, Agbongbon watched through a pool of black water. He bared his rotten teeth in a wicked grin. "You may have one tonight, but you cannot stop what is coming." If you enjoyed watching this second episode, please support the channel by liking this video. Tell us what you think about the video, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Episode 3 drops on Friday. Thank you so much for watching.